All right, let's talk about this pattern that I'm pretty excited to share. This is an egg skein pattern, so it's not meant to imitate a single egg in the current. A piece of skein, I guess you would call it. I paint my jig heads, then there's a strip of rabbit. So you get this stuff here, 1/8 inch thick. Yeah, you can get this most places that have fly tying material. It's variegated chenille. It's got orange and like a yellow chartreuse, which I like. It gives it kind of like an egg look to it. Hen saddle hackle. Cut the 1/8 inch strip of rabbit hide with a razor blade. Okay, and that gives me a thin strip. This adds a little extra glow effect to it. You can see through and see this variegated chenille under there. Okay, so this is a continuation of tying favorite flies to jig heads. This is a 1/16 ounce jig head that I'm using. You can use 32nd or 8th, depending on the water depth. And I've got my materials cut out here to make things move along a little quicker. Is that a word? Quicker. And yeah, so I've got the 3/0 thickness thread. I'm going to lay down a thread base. That gives anything that you tie on a hook traction on that shiny hook shank. And go back to about the bend of the hook. Quick thread base. And I tie this variegated chenille top of the hook shank all the way back to where that lead ends on the shank. That helps the taper. Get that cinched on there. And then I've cut a piece of this hen saddle hackle. I'll tie that in at the tip. I've gauged it, as I want these barbules to be about the depth of the hook gape. I'm tying it in at the tip so that it has a natural taper to it going forward. I've also flipped it over so that the convex concave side goes in my favor, because I want these barbules that are on the quill to lay back. And then we'll grab this variegated chenille, closed spirals, lock the base. Closed spirals going forward. And I'm going to go between the wraps of the chenille with the saddle hackle. Get those barbules to lay back by getting the convex side of the feather figured out, so that as I'm turning this, those barbules are laying back. Going forward, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to end up with 5 at the collar. And we'll just give that a wrap to secure it. Preen those barbules back. Get them out of the way so we catch all those fibers. And give that a trim. And then I pre-cut a piece of this rabbit fur, 1/8 inch thickness. I poked a hole through it with a push pin. So we'll get that off the hook. We'll get that laid on the hook shank. I'm going to give this a trim just behind that where I cut it to. I'll separate the fibers here a little bit away from the cut, not to cut off any excess or cut off too much. I'll separate those fibers right about where I want to make that cut. want to get behind that. Okay, so I've taken that jig head out of the vise to push this piece of hide on over the hook shank, which I started with a push pin. I kind of gauged it to the length that I wanted it to be so that I could catch this piece of hide. And this is how the jig head rides. So this is dorsal side up with the line tie. And I just want to get this secured to the hook here. Catch that. Give it a good couple of securing wraps. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then I have a piece that I'm going to veil over. And that's what this cream saddle hackle is doing. It's going to help hold. Once this is secured on, I give it a single wrap. It just helps to add a glow effect to it, and it's also veiled so you can see through and see that variegated chenille. So we'll tie that on, secure it. 3, 4, 5. And then you can grab this with the hackle pliers. And give that a single. Pull out any hairs that might get trapped. So those are laying back. I'm going to give that turn on the thread. Single wrap of this thin strip of zonker. Give it a trim as close as we can to the back of the ball head. And a couple securing, 3, 4, 5, 6 securing wraps. Give it a whip finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Give it a tug side to side. Pull that knot tight. Take out any slack. Trim that up behind the head. And there we have it. So yeah, what we've got here is this thinner strip of rabbit fur that's tied in at the collar. Yeah, it just helps to add uniformity to the entire fly, but it's also tied in so sparsely, but just enough to give it some color and some form and some shape. And then these saddle hackle barbules help to hold this veil, this rabbit fur, from sucking up to the hook, because these are a little stiffer, so it'll stop this rabbit fur from, yeah, just basically sucking up to the back to the hook, so that it keeps it fluffed out a little bit, like eggs would be in the current. Well, there you have it. Hope you like it. Got one on my little tank rod here, so we can see what it looks like in the water. Okay, it takes a minute for it to get wet, but then as you can see, it's got a lot of flow to it. So even if it's drifting in the current, you know, it just looks like it's alive. It looks like a piece of skein. But I put a red blood dot on the painted jig head, so afterwards I just go back over it with permanent marker in red and give it a blood dot. It's not necessary, but it's just a little added touch. Alright, hope you like it. Like, share, subscribe. We'll be doing more of these. And yeah, let me know what you think. Good luck out there.